These are three poems I plan on reading at Wedgwood tonight on May 14th, 2018, and they all have to do with Sam. The first one is called Sam's Visitation. This happened in Seward Park last week, maybe 10 days ago. Sam's Visitation. The hummingbird could be heard before I could see it, but stopped in the forest morning walk, he's there as a visitation. A minute I watch him and listen. I record him for a minute, keep listening 3-4 minutes, he goes on. Beneath the sounds of airplanes, robins, other birds, and the infernal racket of power tools, which have no place in a public space. 5 minutes, 6, dictating the poem, sounding like my typewriter keys, about the same speed. And the loud sounds come and go, more planes, hummingbird, beak in the air, as if we listen long enough and with enough care, we get the gift they're giving. Not the loudest or biggest, but consistent, and look away for one quick instant, and they're gone. Upon reading Sam Hamill's Seattle Times obituary, this is your world. You spend 30 years before you know you're building one. But building you are 10, 20 years, and the kids, the jobs, if you're lucky, the work. But your address book starts to look like a graveyard, and that's if you're blessed. The Chinese poet who says, this life is missed. The U.S.-American poet who says 50 years goes by in the blink of an eye. These geezers begin to seem a little more wise if you've rejected capitalism's great white lie of youth culture. Sam did. And more, we're getting what Marx knew, that they'd sell their mother, their country, the biosphere, for what? Shiny and slick, they think will fill all that inside emptiness where one's soul's supposed to go. So between poems, some drink, some the flesh and its appetites, some coat the grief with lung drugs. Your world will lose its pillars, whatever foundation on which you built, morphing like science does, one funeral at a time. When you lose the ally, brother, teacher, cohort, it's hard not to think the light has been permanently dimmed. And the last poem I wrote at the Graves Foundation, Morris Graves, last home for 30 years, a residency that Sam helped me secure. Sending Out Tendrils. It's a haibun, and it has an epigraph by Ramon Gomez de la Serna. Skulls in museums are laughing at their labels. To label is to control, and control is to dominate. And who can dominate when that which does not rot wills itself through skull top out of this sigh between two mysteries? The lake painted with swirls of duckweed survive wade of single-file coots, otter trips, seemingly impervious to wavelets, same that mirror Monday morning November southern Cascadia sun, up the tiny island's lichen-festooned wax myrtle. Wax, as mask of fat, contains the life substance, hence its use in witchcraft. Myrtle as joy, peace, tranquility, happiness, constancy, victory, the feminine principle, a vital essence, and transmits the breath of life. A more apt symbol for the master of the lake may never be met. And so hang on to the morning duckweed swirl long as we can without possession. Laugh out the top of our skulls after Latihan. Break from inane digital demands, product of this military contaminated age. In its place, furs and lichen. Tiny islands of ancestors and cattails. Consciousness left to manifest as sword fern and sunbreak. Dreadlocks and giant skunk cabbage. A haymaker of a white, functioning ritual cleanse necessary in the age of Hummers and drones, GMOs, and narcolepsy. 150-acre paean of ancient redwoods, grand firs, and lichenized wax myrtles to the living vine of my nervous system. In the dream world, they want to date your sisters and you want to pee. In the dream world, Dominic can pop finger bits into the air to the sound of Curly Howard. In consciousness manifesting as a lake retreat, the heart of this bulletin is the occasion of a coot landing beyond horsetails or distant gunfire, confirming the world's not had its coming sudden revelation. And we go on longing for butter, coffee, beer, and bioregional animation. And we go on offerings for the dead of piano hymns and picadillo, telepathic conifers and constellations as bird baths. And we go on improvising one prehension after another here because he said, it's not death the opposite of life, it's time. This living vine sending out tendrils invisible like the smoke of my well-tended fire.